when the wind doesn't blow, when we had really cold days, we were reliant on importing from the EU, on coal and on gas. How are we going to replace that in the short term?
Quite frankly, I'm not a scientist. What I am doing is listening to what all the experts are saying. We're living in this insane world where the experts aren't being listened to.
So this is one of those purple-haired Just Stop Oil lunatics.
It's time to pick a side. We don't have time to waste anymore.
Why were you arrested?
For sitting down with my friends after they painted a building. I didn't do anything. I sat on a pavement. And now I've got a bit of orange paint on me, and apparently that's a crime now. I'm not a criminal. I'm a scared little kid trying to fight for their future.
And to start off with, you're one of the Muppets that makes the world more insane, and she says she listens to the experts. Just watch her not listen to one fact that comes out of this guy's mouth throughout the whole debate.
The United Nations has called for no more oil and gas. The International Energy Agency has said we can have no new oil and gas. The IPCC report, the largest global report on the climate crisis, have all said we can have no new oil and gas. How many more experts need to say it?
Because we can't do it tomorrow. What are we going to do in terms of transport? That we still need petrol for cars and we need diesel for lorries. How are we going to get goods into supermarkets without this?
Yeah, and also I want to know how you travelled to that interview, how you dyed your hair and how you probably paint your nails.
Quite frankly, I'm not a scientist. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the world and we're living the effects of the climate crisis today. Right now, people are dying. Children are starving. Families are fleeing their homes.
And you Muppets are also doing similar things by not allowing working class people to go to work, stopping pregnant people getting to the hospital, stopping kids from getting educated. You're a pain in the arse, the lot of you.
Your parents! There's a lot of kids in that place! Come on! Move to once and let's just the bus go! You got kids in the bus! Come on guys! There's a kid in the bus! They need to go to school! You're all parents, aren't you? Do you want to speak on the side? Look, there's a kid in there! My son's gonna go to that point, he's missing it.
Think of all the dolphins that are dying.
Hey, forget about dolphin, man! Forget about dolphin, man! What animal are you fucking animal? What about dolphin, man? What animal are you talking about? What's animal? Are they human? Please!
What about the dolphins? What about my kids' education, you f***ing donut? How's you on about dolphins right now? This just sums it all up, to be honest.
Energy is...
And it's preventable.
Energy,
we have the solutions.
Cheap energy is one of the things that has hugely extended life expectancy by the ability to control temperatures, whether this is by air conditioning or by heating, the ability to store food more effectively, the ability to transport food, and indeed use fertilisers to grow more food, has all been essential in increasing life expectancy. Taking all that away would be disastrous for life expectancy.
Do you know what's essential in keeping our food supply? Tackling the climate crisis. This year we lost 1/3 of our wheat crops, half of our potato crops, and it's only going to get worse. We're heading to a future where people are going to be fighting over the last loaves of bread at Lidl.
But the only way we get our wheat crop is by putting the fertilisers on that come from fossil fuels. How are we going to replace that? That the productivity of organic farming is so much lower than of modern farming methods. We cannot feed the world on organic farming, and you must know that.
So if it was a non-binary purple-haired lunatic's choice, we'd all be fucked.
How do you expect to feed the world when our crops are destroyed by droughts, floods, wildfires, storms?
You've always had weather events that have affected crops, but that actually using fossil fuels for fertilisers and moving on to genetic modification of crops has enormously increased the yield. That since Malthus rate, we've increased agricultural productivity by about 2% per annum. And this is what is allowing people to get extended life expectancy because they've got more certainty of food. And this all depends on cheap energy, which has come from fossil fuels.
Jacob, you have 6 children? Do you not care about their future? Do you not care about them being able to feed themselves? Because right now, under this government's policies, your 6 children are heading towards a future that is filled with life-threatening extreme weather events, crop failures, famine, war. Suffering on a scale completely unimaginable.
I think you've taken the evidence for an evolving climate and then applied it in an extraordinarily extreme way and are forgetting about the enormous advantages.
I can't believe you're talking to me about an evolving climate.
Well, the climate is...
People are dying.
But this is a statement...
Do you know how many people are suffering around the world?
What evidence is there that this is because we're using fossil fuels, that the climate evolves, but more people die each year from cold than from heat, as you know?
Have you read the IPCC report? What do you mean? What science?
But in terms, you're making extreme claims, but you're suggesting by not using fossil fuels, we would not produce the food we need to feed the world population.
I'm
And that would be
suggesting that if
tomorrow.
we keep on heading down this genocidal path of mass destruction, then no, there won't be any foods in the supermarket. Then we will see vast swathes of the world uninhabitable. We will see mass displacement of people.
But if you took out fossil fuels tomorrow, you would simply not have the productivity of agriculture you need to feed 8 or 9 billion people. And that would be tomorrow. I'm not saying you shouldn't reduce emissions. I'm not arguing that. I'm simply saying you must do it when you have the technology to replace the energy that you're using. Because otherwise, all the consequences you're arguing for will happen immediately. We will simply not have the food we need to feed the population of the world.
This whole debate is basically like the calm father shutting up his delusional daughter. She doesn't care what comes out of his mouth, whether they're facts or not, whether it affects the population long term. All she cares about is trying to look like the good person, a little virtue signaller, when she's probably just a little rich kid that needs some meaning in her life. She's the same muppet that vandalised the Van Gogh painting and also tries to vandalise buildings all the time.
What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people?
She's an embarrassment, but you can actually see in her eyes that she's loving every single minute of it. They act like they care about the human race so much, but look what they're doing. They're ruining people's days every single day. You're not helping at all.
You need to let the ambulance through.
Oh, get out the way! Get out the way!
Yeah.
Now you've got to move. That is terrible. They are so annoyed. Oh! He threw a sandwich.
Security, you're hopeless! You are hopeless! The time for words has moved to the time for action.
I'm doing this for my son. The government's inaction on climate change is a death sentence to us all.
And also, when you stop traffic like that, you're causing more pollution, you fucking donuts.
Blocking the traffic, and as a result, you're creating pollution. You're creating pollution.
Now, I've seen a lot of people dragging them off the streets and things like this. Obviously, you would if you're getting frustrated. You've got to be somewhere, or you've got a pregnant woman in the car. The ridiculous thing is, you can get in trouble for dragging them off the street in England. So honestly, I've got no sympathy when it all goes wrong for these muppets, to be honest. Take a look at these.
Protesters from the controversial Just Stop Oil group. The aim, to break in and disrupt operations. Several activists have blocked a road nearby.
How long are you going to stay here for?
Just Stop Oil has been doing this around the country for weeks now.
What are they achieving?
Well, what they're saying is they want maximum disruption to stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah, but that's cooking oil.
Bye, bitch.
Oh, for God's sake.
No, stop it. Humanity, security is failing.
This is a genocide. This is a war on the young.
We are part of Just Stop Oil. We're asking the government to stop licensing fossil fuels.
See ya.
How do you get to the demonstration?
We drive.
We actually take my V6 Land Rover.
Why do you block roads instead of protest at oil companies?
There's nothing quite like stopping working class people getting to work in the mornings.
Obviously, you get the odd far-right extremist saying, we need to get through, I need to get to work to pay for my family. Or the odd ambulance service saying, oh, we need to get through, there's someone dying in the back. It's
pathetic.
Yeah.
Here are some protesters gluing themselves to the floor at a Volkswagen dealership.
I'm Gianluca Grimalda. I'm a researcher in social psychology at a research institute in Germany, and I'm here in the Porsche pavilion in the Autostadt of Wolfsburg to denounce the responsibility of Volkswagen in the climate emergency that we are facing.
Yeah, it was actually a Porsche dealership owned by Volkswagen, I should point out. But it all went bad after that. You see, the organiser then tweeted, Volkswagen told us they supported our right to protest, but they refused our request to provide us with a bowl to urinate and defecate in a decent manner while we are glued, and they've turned off the heating. Well, good on you, Volkswagen.
What a bunch of f***ing muppets. Yeah, I'm gonna go and disrupt your business, but can you help me shit and piss, please? Piss off. You can shit yourself, you little turd.
The Just Stop Oil morons take 56. I mean, I just don't see any upside now to what these Just Stop Oil protesters are doing. They are deliberately wrecking ordinary people's, in many cases, hard-earned enjoyment, watching sport that they love. And for what?
Today, there was more disruption at Wimbledon from the rain than there was from the protest. So I think you're making much of it. I think they are doing a good job because they continue to put this issue on the news agenda.
But everybody hates them.
Again, an exaggeration.
Well, it's not an exaggeration. Listen to the crowd. Listen to the crowd. Here.
Okay. That's not everybody, is it, Piers?
There's no one
That's
cheering.
The crowd at Wimbledon.
There's not a single person applauding
That's the
or
crowd
cheering.
At Wimbledon.
Right. That whole crowd at Wimbledon, like the whole crowd at Lord's, I was there for that. Like all the crowds at all these events that they're wrecking, or trying to wreck, with their attention-seeking. The truth is the British public are absolutely sick and tired of this.
And it's funny because most of these muppets don't even know what they're fighting for.
They don't even know who funds them. Who funds you guys?
Just donations from the public.
Yeah. Right. Do you know that Just Stop Oil has taken massive donations from, oil dynasties such as Jean-Paul Getty? Did you know that? Sorry?
No, it's massive.
No, it has. Do you want me to show you?
No, we're not.
You are. I've just told you. You're funded by the Climate Emergency Fund in LA, of which the majority of them are heirs to oil dynasties, including Jean-Paul Getty.
I'll have a sensible debate about climate science and the climate crisis and the just energy transition, but there's no point if you're just going to throw mud that doesn't make any sense.
I'm telling you facts. How's that mud? Look, this is your favourite newspaper, The Guardian. Just Stop Oil's spring uprising protest funded by US philanthropists. LA-based Climate Emergency Fund donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to activists. They include Jean-Paul Getty, whose oil dynasty made him a multi-billionaire.
Like the guy said at the beginning, I'm not saying we shouldn't reduce emissions, of course we should. I don't want to see the world go to shit. But there's a way of doing things, and the way these people are doing things is ridiculous. They all need Michael.
Stop it. Get some help.